Hello students, we are going to study today levy and collection of GST, GST rates in India, okay, how GST is being levied and collected in India, what are the GST rates, then what is RCM, that is reverse charge mechanism, what is OIDAR, online information data access retrieval services, e-commerce operator and composition scheme. Let us study with levy and collection. If you see, what am I trying to explain here? How GST is being levied and collected. Previous lecture we already studied conceptual framework. Okay, that means how we are levying it. If it is an intrastate transaction, we levy IGST. If it is an intra, we levy CNS or UT if it is a union territory. Okay. Now, as you already see in the PPT, GST is a dual model taxation, which I have already discussed with you. That means both the central and the state enjoy the revenue. And GST is a destination and consumption based tax. This means what? If the destination changes, the ownership changes, the possession changes, we have to pay GST. Okay? This is the first thing. What is the next thing when I say consumption? The consuming states enjoy the revenue. Why? Because the consumer is paying the tax. So, say for example, I am a consumer of Maharashtra. So, who is going to enjoy the revenue of the consumption of the tax? That is the Maharashtra state. How? We are going to understand the same with the help of an example. Okay, so we have Mr. A of Kerala who sold goods to Mr. B, okay, of Tamil Nadu. And what is the cost price? The cost price is 150 rupees. On that, we are paying GST at the rate 10%. So, what is the GST which we are paying? 15 rupees. Okay, now because it is being sold from Kerala to Tamil Nadu, Mr. A, it is an interstate transaction because two states are involved. Right? So, Mr. A, what he will be doing, he will be paying only IGST, that is Integrated Goods and Service Tax, which he has collected from Mr. B. Why? Because the consumer pays the tax, the consumer bonds the tax, and it is being paid by the seller to the government. So, Mr. A is going to pay IGST to the government, that is rupees 15. Now, in this case, whatever central government has collected, that 15 rupees, what central government will be doing, the 15%, that is 7.5 rupees, they will be keeping in their pocket, and the balance 7.5 rupees they will be giving to which state? Tamil Nadu. Why? Because it is the consuming state. Okay. Now let us take one more example where it is an intrastate. Intrastate means only one state is involved. That means C of Lucknow is selling goods to B of Kanpur. Lucknow and Kanpur both fall in one state, that is Uttar Pradesh. Okay, so the goods are being sold for 180 rupees. The GST rate is same, 10%, simplified process for our understanding, 18 rupees. Okay, so now this 18 rupees, what they are going to pay? They are going to pay 9 rupees CGST and 9 rupees SGST. Right? It is being paid by whom? By Mr. B to Mr. C. But it is being paid by Mr. C to the government, borne by the consumer, but paid by the seller to the government. Now, 9 rupees will be enjoyed by central government and the balance 9 rupees will be enjoyed by Lucknow government. Okay, hopefully you understood what do I mean when I say levy and collection of GST. Now we are going to study the next topic, that is GST rates. So how many GST rates do we have? We have 5. 3%, 5%, 12%, 18% and 28%. There is also one more GST rate, that is 0.01%, which is hardly used. So we have this 3. 3% is being used for jewelry, 5% is being used for essential commodities. Okay, then we have 12%. 12% is being used for stationery, sometimes electronic products. 18% is being used for service industry. 28% is being used for luxury. How do we pay it in case of interstate transaction? Inter means two states, two union territory, or one state or one union territory is involved. How do we pay it? We pay it, say for example 5%, so 5% IGST, 3% IGST, 12% IGST, 18% IGST, 28% IGST. But if it is intrastate, how do we pay it? Okay, we pay 3%. So 1.5% C, 1.5% S. 5% is a 2.5% C, 2.5% S. Okay, 12% is the 6% C and 6% S. Okay, 18% is the 9% C, 9% S. 28% is the 14% C and 14% S. Okay, this is how we divide it. Okay, hopefully you understood the types of rates of GST. Now we have the third topic which we are going to discuss, GSTN, that is Goods and Service GST came up with the concept of portal, that is, everything is online, nothing is offline. So we have a very good website which is called www.gst.gov.in. If you go to website, you will find all the services being provided, right from the registration to the cancellation. You can register yourself, you can amend your details, you can file the returns. All the details have been, whatever returns you have filed, it's been there in the portal. Okay, whatever you have, amount you have paid, balance left to be paid, balance receivable, everything is there in that portal. So it is a very good portal which is being available for everyone. Those who are registered, only they can get the access. Those who are not, they don't get the access about the same. So this is an ease of job for each and every individual. Okay, apart from that, what are we going to study? The next topic which we are going to study is composition scheme. Okay, when I say composition scheme, what do I mean? Composition scheme is being given for those individuals whose turnover is up to 1.5 crores. Okay, for special state it is only 75 lakhs. So if your turnover is only up to 1.5 crore rupees, then you can opt composition scheme. That means you don't have to pay monthly GST. Okay, you have to pay only quarterly GST, and now it has been modified and it has been done annually. So those who are opting for composition scheme, these individuals have to pay their taxes only quarterly, not annually. This is the first benefit. Second benefit, you do not have to maintain books of accounts. There is no hassle of anything. Okay, no books of accounts are to maintain. What is the third benefit? The third benefit, the GST rates are reduced. 1% for traders, sellers and manufacturers. 5% for those individuals who are into service industry. And 6% for other service providers. Composition scheme can be opted only for those individuals who are into manufacturing. Service providers cannot use composition scheme. Contradict? Yes, contradict. Okay, which service providers can use composition scheme? Only those individuals who are opting for restaurant services. Okay, those. Second type of individuals. Say for example, I am into manufacturing and service industry both. So if my turnover is up to 10%, okay, so those service providers who can use these services, those service providers who are providing restaurant service, not using alcohol, and if I'm a manufacturer and I'm also a service provider, can I offer composition scheme? Yes, but my turnover from services should be 5 lakh rupees or 10% of the total turnover, whichever is more. Shouldn't be more than 10%. Then I cannot offer composition scheme. Okay. Apart from that, can I collect tax? No. Can I issue invoice? No. I have to issue a piece of paper called as bill of supply, which we are going to discuss when we are going to discuss documentation. Okay. Apart from that, who cannot opt for composition scheme? Individuals, casual tax payable, or non-resident taxable person, casual taxable person. All this we are going to discuss in detail when we are going to study registration. Okay, people who are supplying interstate goods and service, means supplying goods outside the state. Can they offer this scheme? No, they cannot offer this scheme. Any other individuals? Yes, we have persons supplying goods through e-commerce operators, only goods, not services. If you are supplying goods through e-commerce operator, can you offer composition scheme? No. Manufacturer pan masala, ice cream, tobacco, they cannot opt for composition scheme. And persons supplying services, except for restaurant. And if you are a manufacturer and if your total turnover of services is 5 lakh rupees or 10% of the total turnover, whichever is higher. Okay, this is what we have discussed till now. Now what is the next thing which we have to discuss is e-commerce operator and OIDA services. Now understand, when I say OIDA services and e-commerce operators, what do I mean? Okay, these are the individuals who provide you service on online platforms. Who are they? Flipkart, Amazon, Swiggy, Zomato, okay, Ola, Uber, Just Dial. They all are examples of e-commerce operators and OIDAs. Even your Kindle is an example of OIDA services. Okay, what do? They act as catalysts. They connect the buyers to the sellers. They also provide you various services with the help of electronic platforms. Okay, so if you are an e-commerce operator, do you have to compulsorily go for registration? Yes, you have to compulsorily go for registration. What do I mean? I mean all the e-commerce operators or OIDA services, even if they are not established in India, they have to appoint a representative in India and have to compulsorily register themselves. Say for example, you are going for ACC. ACCA is registered in UK, so you are taking classes UK based. These people are providing services in India, right? So it is a service which is being provided in India. Do they have to pay GST? Yes, obviously, because what did I say? Any goods or services provided in the taxable territory of India is taxable, right? So it is included in extent and commencement. So do we have to pay GST? Obviously, yes, we have to pay GST. So they have to appoint a representative for the same. But there is exception of the same. Any person, okay, there are 3 types of people or 3 types of e-commerce operators. Who are they? The accommodation ones, okay. The second one are providing this traveling facilities, transportation of people. And the first is accommodation and basic utility service. This means what? Say for example, if I am a Ola driver, do I have to register myself under GST? No, I don't have to. Who's going to register? Ola. Who's going to pay the GST? They. Okay, this is the first type of individual, OYO. If you're taking an OYO, okay, on rent or for accommodation purpose, okay, the hotel people, do they have to register themselves? No, not compulsory. Who has to register themselves? The OYO individual. The same for Just Dial, the basic utility services. The plumbers, the technicians, do they have to register themselves? No. Who has to register? Just Dial individuals have to register. Apart from that, if any individual who is supplying goods through EOC or OIDA service, do they have to register themselves? Yes. This means what? A seller who is selling goods through Amazon or Flipkart, do he has to register himself? Yes, he has to register himself. Okay. So this we are going to talk about when we talk about OIDA services and also about e-commerce operator. Thank you.